Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Assalamu alaikum. Yes.
Walaikum assalam.
Yes, can you hear me?
Walaikum assalam, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, we are going to start another topic, that is feminism, rights of women. And basically, there's a writer, Mary Wollstonecraft. There's a writer. But first of all, just I told you the definition of feminism, rights of women. Basically, feminism is an ideology that believes in equal rights of women, rights in equal opportunities, education, employment, to judge and evaluate the piece of writing from the rights of women perspective. Basically, women writers, they are of the opinion that when men write about women, their writings are not on the basis of justice, and they are men. Basically, they are not true representative of women's rights. So therefore, women can write their problems, women can represent their problems, and women basically know their problems well as compared to men. So you can say that here, feminist writing or the feminism, or you can say that literature, feminist literature, so representation of women, their rights, their problems in true perspective. So we are going to discuss it in detail. So, but I have written over here, there are many feminist writers and scholars, and they speak in the favor of rights of women. But there is a critic and a scholar, Louis Tyson. Now, she is saying that feminist criticism basically how literature and other cultural productions reinforces or else undermines the economic, political, social, besides psychological operation of women. So basically, when we talk about rights of women, we talk about their economic, political, social rights. And we talk about psychological operation of women. So uh, basically discrimination against women, these writers and these scholars are of the opinion that basically discrimination against women is cultural production. It is not natural one. So women are not being discriminated naturally, but it is the cultural production. So women are economically, politically, socially are backward because it is the culture that decides in the favor of men. And then there are many factors behind it. As we know that the writings of 19th century, especially Bernard Shaw and Ibsen, just I told you earlier, and you have read Pillars of Society by Ibsen. So feminist criticism understand the nature of inequality and focus on analyzing gender equality and promotion of women's rights. So this is little bit introduction about feminism or feminist writing, how just feminists talk about rights of women, and basically the feminists like Simone de Beauvoir and Virginia Woolf, and basically they say that men basically are not the true representative of rights of women in literature, and women can write and defend and advocate their rights in literature. So here we talk about women's rights. So this is a slide number one, and then we move to slide second. Basically, here we are going to study Mary Wollstonecraft. She was born in 1759 in London. Her book was published, A Vindication of Rights of Women, in 1792, because we are going to study this Vindication of Rights of Women, because she was the supporter of rights of women. So she is considered moral and political philosopher and a founding feminist writer. So I'm going to discuss why she is called a founding feminist writer. She faced lots of problems. Basically, uh, her writings, when we read, when we analyze, when we evaluate her writings, so basically her writing is production of her personal experiences, personal problems. So she faced lots of problems due to dire straight financial condition of her father. Basically, her father was abusive to her, and later on she found that why her father was abusive, in the sense that she took a lot of financial support, and she demanded some financial support from her father. Therefore, her father was abusive to her, and later on she wanted and she tried at her level best to become financially independent. Her father used to abuse her, and she knew the reason behind abuse. She started school with her sister and friend, and then you see that she did the job of governess, and she wants women to be financially independent. Basically, this is one of the reasons that she mentions in her book, that women basically should not be dependent on men. And because of this dependence, men exploit women. So this is the basic thing she is trying to discuss this. If women are financially independent, it means that they will have less problems as compared to, you see, that financially weak. She dislikes the traditional women job, needlework, governess, and teaching, basically. When we come to her writing, A Vindication of Rights of Women by Mary Wollstonecraft, central idea. Uh, this book, basically, why she has written this book. Actually, when we talk about the conditions of 17th and 18th century, as we know in the background, there was she wrote this book in 1791, and before that, as you know, that 1789 there was French Revolution, and after that you see that American War of Independence. But at you see that 17th and 18th century in England, people were people were very religious at the time, but they wanted to question the authenticity of religion as well. So there were a lot of questions. So she wrote this book, basically keeping in view the French Revolution, and people wrote about French Revolution and the role of men in society as well. When we go in the depth, there was Jean-Jacques Rousseau. Rousseau was a French scholar, and you see that his writings played a vital role in bringing French Revolution, changing the minds of the people. Rousseau basically believes in equality, freedom, and fraternity. So these three things are on the basis of French Revolution. But when we when we understand the writings of Rousseau, so Rousseau has written a treatise on education, and his book is called Emile. Basically, Emile was a boy, and in his book there is a Sophie, and Sophie is a girl. And Rousseau, basically, the French scholar, French philosopher, so he assigns the task to Emile and Sophie differently. Now, he is of the opinion that Emile is a boy, and he will have to take the role of leadership, and he should be tough, strong, and you can say that he should be educated in this way. And Sophie basically is a weak and girl, she is a girl, and she will be trained in the way just she would perform household duties. So this writer, Mary Wollstonecraft, has high objections against Rousseau. She's of the opinion that no, there should not be separate education for girls. Basically, girls and boys are human beings and they should be educated in the same institution, in the same manner. There should be equality. They are human beings and there should not be discrimination. This is the main basis of, you see, can say that her writings, keeping in view the background of this. So many people, they say that she started talking about women's rights and she began talking about women's rights, and they say that she's a mother of feminism, because before that there were not so much recognized writings as she started. So this book, a vindication, with no vindication means she is a supporting, protecting, and she is promoting the rights of women. So this book basically pressed for educational reforms. And when she wrote this book and then when she published it, people thought at that time she was very stupid and she was very crazy, because the people didn't like, uh, because they considered these ideas odd and strange kind of ideas, because it is very difficult to accept the change in the very beginning. So but later on her book was taken for the educational reforms, because you can say that in 17th century, in 18th century, and later on in 19th century there was a complete change in England. So, what she is talking, what is the central idea of this book, this whole book? Basically, the same. When we read this book, there are 13 chapters, and in these 13 chapters, the same. You see that ideas are there, but the main thing is that she talks about education and opportunities of women. Now, she is saying that there should not be separate institutions, colleges, universities, and schools for women, and there should be co-education. It means that men and women should get education under the same shelter in the same institution. So, giving women access to the same educational opportunities as men. Confined existence makes women frustrated, transform them into tyrant over their children. Basically, she's trying to say that society, culture, basically, they assign the roles of women. So women can do everything. Women can take the jobs of men as well. Women can do everything, but society is talking about the roles of women. That the women should be governors, women should be teacher, women should do sewing jobs, and women should do household work, duties and chores. You can, but she's of the opinion that women can do challenging jobs like men. So there should not be different, there should not be discrimination against women. So women should be educated in the same manner as men are getting education. So advocacy of women's right on the ground of equality of sexes. Now she believes that the sexes, two sexes, male and female, they are equal, dismissing the cultivation of traditional female virtues of submission and service. Basically, when we talk, when society talks about women, so what society demands from women, they demand that the women should be servant, women should engage in household duties, and when there must be complete obedience out of women. So women should not be rebellious, women should not be rough and tough, women should not be strong. But she is saying that so uh, women should not be weak, but women must have virtues of good virtues, but not virtues of submission and service only. So women cannot be good mothers, good wives, and good household managers if they are not it. Basically, the main focus of this book is education. Now, she talks about education of women. So she is of the opinion that the women are getting education in the society only in the sense that they will become future mothers, they become future wives, but it is not so. So education should be for getting opportunities and avenues in the society. So she has got different thinking. As you know that when we talk about these ideas, mothers and wives are good, sensible companions. So wife is not servant to husband. Wife should not comply everything what husband is saying. So wife should not be completely or fully comprehensively obedient to husband. So the roles are basically equal, there should be equality. So women are considered partners, friends, companions, so life partners. So they should not be considered as you see that weak. They should be complete obedience out of women. These are the wrong notions. Treatment of women equally and with dignity, providing them training to be good wives and good mothers. So when we read these ideas, she is of the opinion that this I have written in other slides as well. Basically, she is saying that women are themselves basically uh, are the responsible for their problems in society. So she dislikes jewelry of women, makeup of women, suppleness of women, weakness of women, or love and romance, because society thinks that women is only for love and romance. Society thinks that women should women should put on jewelry and women should look beautiful, and then you can say that there should be modeling, and then you see that there can be catwalk and all these things. So she dislikes all these ideas. Now she's of the opinion that because of these things, women are in chains, women are servant. Apart from all these things, women need to be trained, and she needs to be tough, strong, and she should be the supporter of her children. And she how can she manage her house, and how can she be you see that giving suggestions and advice to her husband, and how can she go along with her husband. So in the sense that women are basically decision makers, women are basically are not inferior to men in this regard. So therefore I can say that at that time these ideas were considered strange by her, but she is speaking in the favor of women. Now she is saying that women must have rights, but there should be equal rights, equal opportunities of education, job, everything. So she is talking about it. So vindication of rights of women, as I have told you, there are 13 chapters in the book. Equal rights of women at par with the men, they be considered human beings. So at least they should be considered human beings. This is, so they should not be discriminated. There must not be gender discrimination when we talk about these ideas, when we talk about her book. So as we have got culture and traditions, you can say that at that time in England there was also the same culture, same traditions in France, also in Europe, in whole Europe also. Women are considered weak. So delicacy of sentiment and refinement of the taste, these expressions indicate weakness. Basically she is against these values, that their women should be refined, women should read novels, women should indulge in romance, women should indulge in beauty. beauty products, and you see that modeling and all these things, but she dislikes this. Women are not for insignificant objects of desire, can achieve masculine characteristics like courage and fortitude. This is very important. Now, she is of the opinion that women are not there for completion of the desires of men. So women can have and women can be trained regarding the virtues, these virtues, just like courage, fortitude, patience, and all these virtues, all these virtues are called good virtues, and women should learn these virtues. So there should be equilibrium in society, there should be balance in society. So basically women rights are human rights. So they have got rights and they have got duties, they involve to, so they should be considered equal. So here there's a question: why are women degraded, discriminated, and alienated? As we know that when we observe in our society, majority of uneducated women, they are degraded. Yes, there is a gender discrimination. Yes, there is a gender discrimination. So they say that basically boys are preferred. So girls are less preferred in the society. Boys are encouraged to do good jobs and have opportunities to go foreign countries, to opt O level, A levels, or whatsoever. So yes, there is a discrimination. And women are alienated. So those women who talk about their rights in society, basically they are separated, they are segregated, and they think that these women are rebellious by nature and they are to be hated. Why are they considered an object of pity and bordering of contempt? So there are, sorry, there are many things we talk about. Basically, she has written these ideas keeping in view French society, keeping in view the society of England of 17th and 18th century. But when you observe the when you evaluate, you see that there are certain reflections of these ideas in our society. So as we know that in Sindhi and Balochi culture, we call women nyani. Basically, what nyani represent? Nyani basically is a weak term for women. So this is not for the sake of, you can say that respect or honor. Basically, it represents that women are weak, therefore they should be respected in this state. And then there are many ideas. The writers who render women objects of pity, so women should be the object of pity, Rousseau, Fordyce, and Gregory. Basically, these writers wrote in that, as I told you, the main reason there was a boy Emile and there was a Sophie girl, and basically they are teaching Rousseau in do you hear me?
Yes,
जी
sir.
सर अब आवाज आ रही है आपकी
बेटा इंटरप्शन हो गया, पता नहीं क्या जो है वो ये सब. So she is of the opinion that women are false of poor education. Women take their roles in a better way if they are improved and expanded. They have expanded education. Women are considered emotional, ill-equipped to make right decision. So So basically she is talking about these things, and she says that if women are not well educated, so what happens, what is happening with them? They will not have good opportunities, they will not have good avenues, they would not have good jobs, and naturally if they haven't got good jobs, they will not be financially independent, because whatever she has written, the outcome of everything she has written, that is focusing on the education of women, and that is focusing on the opportunities of women in order to make them mature, sensible, strong, and financially independent. So they should not depend upon men financially. So they can support their families, their husband, and their children regarding this, and then they should be future leaders. So this is another slide, women rights in perspective. The women should realize their natural potential. She focuses on women belonging middle class. Basically, she's talking about women of middle class, and for her, middle class is very important. She's of the opinion that poor women are rich women. Basically, both of them, they are away from society. So when women are rich, basically they are not sensible. They basically they are alienated, and then they consider themselves superior in society, and they haven't got a good role for betterment of the society. So she is not talking about rich women, and she's not talking about poor women as well, because for poor women again alienated, and but she is talking about middle class, and she wants to support middle class women. Oh, women education is the gateway to marriage only, and there is nothing beyond that. So she thinks that in society the education of women is going towards marriage, and this is the main task. The society considers that women is going to marry, and this is the and she will be engaged in household work, and she will rear the children, and she will bring up the children. This is the main task, and basically she hates this main task. This is not the final achievement or goal of women, and this should not be. Women are taught without any purpose or goal. So the education of women will not open opportunities as the education of men is. Women should achieve the same virtue as men, and then she's talking about equality. Women should be independent thinker, having acha. Now this is the main focus of her. This. Yes. Are you listening to me?
Sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
There is a sound in the background. I don't know. You see that you want to ask question, or you see there is a there's something problem. Some problem is going on. Okay, women should be independent thinker, having good virtues, and they should know how to cope up the deception. So the norms, values, traditions in culture, and when now she's saying that appreciation and praise to women is harmful to her. Putting on or use jewelry to become handsome, to become beautiful, is harmful to women. So all these tasks which society decides for women to become beautiful, to become handsome, to become fine, to have refined values, to seem like an object or doll, or basically these things create problems of women, and she calls them deception. Basically, she's of the opinion that this is nothing but deception to women, and she resists this deception. Pernicious effects of unnatural distinction. Now there is a harmful, pernicious, there is a harmful effects of unnatural distinction. Basically, she is saying that there is a discrimination, there is distinction, but this is unnatural. Examples of harm done to ignorance of women. Now, she has used the word charlatan, novel reading, dress up, sensibility, and ignorance about children. Now, basically, when she is talking about all these things, now she is saying that when women is dressing up, when she reads novel, and when she should follow the chastity, sensibility, and all these things, and you when she have all the rules, she may be ignorant about their children. Marriage, basically, marriage is companionship and friendship. Husband and wife are companions, friends, and partners. So at that time in the 17th century, in 18th century, so they were of the opinion that women basically they are servant to men, and they are inferior to men. So therefore they have the rules. The rule is that the main rule is that they should be obedient to men. But she has objections regarding this. So partnership is based on mutual respect and good understanding. So while reading all these ideas, you can think that even in our society, women are not considered friends, women are not considered as you see that partners and companions. So blind obedience should be replaced by mutual love. Now, this is very important. This is the whole gist of, you see, that her writings. There should not be blind obedience. There must be a mutual love, respect, awareness of each other's responsibilities. So as you see that the things are common among friends, as things are common among partners, so husband and wife must have mutual love, mutual respect, and mutual responsibility. So they share this responsibility in the society. Boys and girls should be in same school. She is in a favor of early marriage. Now this is again very important. Now she thinks that there should not be there should not be late marriages. So women, you see, there should be early marriages. So husband and wife should learn in use colleges and universities. So they should be partners at the same time, and they should be students at the same time. So she is in the favor of early marriage. So now she thinks that late marriage is basically complicate the situation for men as well as for women. So women should be good citizens rather than involved in love and romance. Basically, our uh, in our society, to some extent you can say that we think that women are for marriage and women are for romance, or women for you see that as we know that our dramas, our plays, and our films, you see that we see. So you can say that women are pitiable in all these things because they are for love and romance, but she is totally against this concept. So feminine grace against achievement of higher virtues and values. So she thinks that women should not be graceful, women should not be beautiful, women should not be objects of just romance, but they must learn high virtues and values at the same time. Now, what are the higher values and virtues? Gentleness, compassion, kindness, toughness, you see that, and fruitfulness. So it means that women should be also men. As men are performing the duties, so women should perform the same duty. So romance, beauty products, jewelry, suppleness, softness, and destroy women's life. So she thinks that all these problems are there with women, all these complications are there with women because of these things. So women are considered as the object of beauty. So you see that I'm telling you, the modeling is there, beauty products are there, catwalk is there, and you see the half naked you bodies of women are there, and just men like, and all these things, all these silly and stupid things are there. She is also considering these harmful use for women, for future of women, for you can say that life of women. On the other hand, now what she is trying to say, women need training for being tough, strong, and develop virtues to survive in worst conditions. This is very important. In spite of, you see that telling her to be model, to put on jewelry, to have suppleness, and that you see that talking about beauty products. So she needs to be educated. She needs to be trained in order to have virtues, in order uh, to have skills, in order to survive in the modern world. So she should be supportive to her family as compared to all these things. So knowledge is more than academic study. Now she is saying that knowledge, schools, universities, and colleges, they don't teach you knowledge only, but knowledge is something else. Okay, you can get knowledge and learning from institutions and universities, but if demands life experiences to develop human faculty. So you may have knowledge, wisdom from the experiences of from your experiences, from the experience of others. So basically, the true knowledge and true education lies in the experiences to have you, because these uh, experiences develop help you to develop human faculties. So she criticizes ladylike skills, sewing, playing piano, and being a good wife. Societal expectations, what are societal expectations? Stay at home, ideas of feminine beauty, all this made women silly and vain. Now she thinks that women is silly because of all these things. So these are the ideas she would like to share with us, and you can say that she is considered as a pioneer of women writer. So when we learn about her ideas, we come to know that in 17th and 18th century, these ideas were considered strange, odd, and you see that there was no applicability of these ideas in those centuries. So she basically, when we learn about her and about her ideas, about her book, so she may be considered as a rebellious, you see that women against the norms, culture, and traditions of society of west at that time. So but later on, her ideas were recognized, and she was uh, uh, read by many people of parliament, and then you see that her ideas were taken up for educational reforms. As we know that in 17th in 18th century she wrote that, but in 19th century women had got